Hello, welcome back here to Metalhead Nation Garage. Hey, we got some big news in rock today in metal. Five Finger Death Punch lead singer Moody is announced just the other night that he's going to retire from metal music altogether. He had his family on stage, and to make the announcement, kind of big news. I mean, Five Finger Death Punch is making a big successful tour with Megadeth this fall. They've been touring all summer, went to Europe. They've been all over the place. It was kind of surprising on this news here with Five Finger Death Punch. So yeah, see what happens here in a next year. See if after he retires, if the band continues, or do they just all retire and maybe do their own thing solo, or what have you. So big news on that Five Finger Death Punch. We'll move on to some news on Corey Taylor buying Monster magazine. I didn't think magazines was a very big these days. So it's kind of interesting to see, hey, maybe he gets this back together and see if it be successful. I thought that digital format was what was going on now. I don't think most people don't even read a newspaper now. They just pick it up on their phone, computer, or what have you. So kind of big news there. I don't know what that's about, what they'll do, and how successful it'll be. So we'll move on there from Corey to Creed. Big news, kind of big news coming out. Tremonti, the lead guitarist for Creed, came out and said there's no need for a reunion of Creed in the near future. So he's doing his own thing, I guess, and he's happy with that. And maybe they just can't come together, as a band to make that reunion tour. So maybe they need a little more time to figure it out. Hopefully that's what it is, and maybe something happens late in 2023 or 2024 for a big Creed reunion tour. Because I'm sure it would be massive, that's for sure. And moving on from there, we got KK Downing making news here. He is going to get back together with Judas Priest, we know, at the Hall of Fame. And they're going to perform together. So this be pretty exciting. Judas Priest is on their 50th year anniversary tour right now. I wonder what that'll bring out. I mean, KK Downey did his album with Ripper Owens, and which was really good, and you can hear them Judas Priest licks in that album. So wonder maybe get them talking again, get them back together. Maybe something might happen in the original lineup that is alive, and Judas Priest could get back together. That'd be kind of cool to see happen. We'll see. And then hey, we'll move on. With the Red Rocker Sammy Hagar, he had his birthday bash, which is like 7 or 8 days now, and a successful one. He had everybody down there, all of his friends. He just released that Crazy Times album, so be interesting to see where that comes out on Billboard, see how successful that was, and see what brings in the future. I know that I don't know of any tour dates for next year yet, so I don't know where they'll be, if all of them get together and do a mini tour or what have you. But it'd be real interesting to see what comes about on that. And we'll move on to sticking with VanHalen, of course. David Lee Roth did a little story here back in the day, wouldn't let the band quit. This goes all the way back to 1976. At that time, they was doing the club circuit out there in LA, and of course the story goes Gene Simmons walked in at the club and seen him and was just blown away. He said he was just talking amongst friends, and Eddie lit up that guitar, and everybody faced the stage and didn't move for the next 45 minutes, as he tells it, that Eddie was just ripping it up. So, but what happened there too, after that gig, Gene got with him, signed him to his his be a manager, and said he would do all, fit the bill to do uh, recording and a demo and fly him to the studio there in New York or wherever that was at that time. I believe it was in New York, and they flew him in. They played in front of Paul and somebody and Paul's manager at that time. So, and as the story goes, there they was turned down, right? And it was something Paul was just trying to put Gene in his place. Everybody knew they was great, and they was gonna make it, but they just had to, reel Gene back in because they wanted Kiss to make it big, right? It was all about Kiss at that time, but at that time the band was all let down, and and David had to talk to him and supposedly kept them going. Big bummer at that time, but as we know, in 1978 they was signed to Warner Brothers, and the magic happened there. So pretty cool stories if you go back and see the old news there and everything. So you can't deny that music today at Van Halen. So hey, we'll move on there to AC/DC. Some Brian Johnson coming out, and he just did a book, of his life and in the rock and roll, right? And AC/DC came up a lot, right? It was all about the Young brothers, and actually, he stated when Malcolm passed away, he said the heartbeat of AC/DC went away. He just, it was hard. It was hard for them to go on and perform, and of course, heck, they went on 3 more years after the passing of Malcolm, and maybe a little longer on the tour, until Brian had his voice or hearing problems, and Axl finished it out. But that book is supposed to hit the shelf this coming week. So, but just a little bit of Malcolm, how he ran the band. He was the singer songwriter there, and it was kind of neat just to hear a little bit more about Malcolm, and Brian giving him kudos, and letting him know that he was really appreciated. And and that's the amazing thing about AC/DC. When Malcolm passed away, probably you go all the way back to Bon Scott. There's never any tributes that I know of. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment in the section there. But I never did see one for Bon Scott when he passed away, and I never seen one for Malcolm. So I don't know. Maybe they was just tore up that they didn't. But that would be kind of really cool to see if AC/DC doesn't do anything anymore, but at least come out and and talk about that and do one last gig, maybe for Malcolm or maybe for the whole band, and it'd be done, and and get that tribute, get the the thanks, and the fans, they would really appreciate that a lot. So moving on from the AC/DC news, which hopefully, golly, we would like to see a tour there, but probably not gonna happen. Talking about ex-members of Megadeth getting a band together and touring Europe, whatnot. That's something. Kings of Thrash are calling it. Wow. And all of these guys are going to play. All the old guitar players are going to get together, and they're going to do a tour, and they're going to do all them old Megadeth songs. I think that'd be pretty cool to see right there. And maybe, I don't know how big the tour. They said they got to try it out first. It may be a couple gigs, and that's it. But it could go on if it's popular. Move on to UFO frontman. He had a heart attack. Believe that. Terrible news. But he is recovering well, and is expected to recover and be off the road for about 6 months. You go on and give it a little review about Skid Row. They just released the Gang's All Here album. I don't know if you've heard the singles on that. They've been really good. And they're playing one song, The Gang's all here on the road and getting really good reviews of it. The fans are accepting it and everything. But they just released this Skid Row album, and I'm telling you, it is hard. And I mean, good and heavy. Goes back in the 80s and 90s when they was right at the top of their game, and you couldn't beat it. And if you haven't heard it, go out and get it digitally, get the CD. It is really good, and check it out. Yes. Alrighty, and that will be all today from Metalhead Nation Garage. Check us out. Hey, give us a thumbs up. Like the channel. If you got it, and leave comments. We like to hear it. All right, and we'll see you back here next time on Metalhead Nation Garage.